Okay, I'm recording.
All right. Hello, my name is Sean.
And I'm Andreas.
This is the Sean Andreas podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the last couple of weeks of basketball. There's definitely a lot to go over. A lot of stuff has happened, and we're just going to get right into it. So the first order of business I want to get into is Steph Curry, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and them being the top three in the front runners for MVP this season. So how much of them have you watched so far?
I've watched a lot of Lakers and Warriors. I haven't really seen much of Nuggets, but I've been seeing a lot of the stuff you've been showing me.
Yeah. So, who do you think is top in the MVP voting right now out of the three?
Probably Steph.
And then where would you rank the other two? Like, and on a list. So if you have Steph at one, who would you have at two, and who would you have at three?
I'd go Jokic 2 and then LeBron 3.
Uh, Mine's just very slightly different. I'd have LeBron, Steph, then Jokic.
Yeah, I have Steph first because they're starting to get back into their rhythm, and then it looks like they're just shoot at times just shooting lights out.
The only thing that's preventing Steph Curry from being number one on the MVP voting for me is the fact that he doesn't, put up MVP type stats every night. He actually has quite a few nights where he only puts up like 16 points or 11 points or something like that. And I mean, if he can figure that out and have a more consistent season, he's easily MVP for me. But
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then second I got Jokic. Granted, I haven't seen much of him, but the stuff you've shown me is I actually love watching it. Just seeing like a big
yeah,
man pass like that and just be able to score from
so
anywhere.
So, I mean, I don't remember if the game happened before or after the last podcast we did, which was just 2 weeks ago. But we there was a game where Jokic had 18 passes, and I shit you not, it was literally one of the best games of basketball I've ever seen played in my life. I mean, and I've watched a lot of basketball games. I've watched a lot of classic games. I've watched a lot of players play. That 18 assist game was something insane. It like blew my fucking mind with when I saw him run certain plays. It was it just like transcended my current basketball knowledge. I feel like it like
Like you opened your third eye.
yeah, like I opened my fucking third eye out here, seeing the game like Phil Jackson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know why a lot of people have been like sleeping on Jokic though. Granted, the Nuggets haven't performed well, like standings wise, but I still think they
So
could still make the playoffs.
here's actually a stat that would is quite shocking. So whenever Jokic is on the floor, the plus minus of the entire Nuggets is second in the NBA. But with Jokic off the floor, it's by far the worst in the history of the NBA. I'm not kidding. It's worse than like the 12-13 Bobcats. It's worse than the 1972 Dallas Mavericks, who had
What about the Thunder with Westbrook's MVP season?
um I don't. I'm not talking about the difference. I'm talking about the like So right now, Jokic is leading when he's on the court the Nuggets to second in the league in offensive rating, and it's when he's off the court, it's the worst of all time. I don't know what the stat is correlated to the OKC, but
Because
that's just
Westbrook made his teammates better in his MVP season, but when he was off the court, they weren't that good.
they were one of the worst teams in the league for sure when he was off the court, but I don't remember them being worst team of all time off the court offensively. I'm sure that that's not going to last. It's only been like what 9 games, 10 games for them, so
Yeah,
I'm sure that that's not going to last.
yeah.
But
Granted, like also
just
Michael Porter Jr. isn't playing as well because of COVID restrictions.
that's just to give you a little bit of perspective on why Jokic is in the MVP voting right now. Not only that, but his counting stats are also really good. So
Like, I'm surprised nobody compares him to Arvydas Sabonis. Horace.
that was a lot of the what is it, the comparison whenever he first started, showing his passing skill, was that Arvydas Sabonis is the best passing big of all time, and then Jokic started coming around, and everybody was like, "Oh, who's the better passing big?" I think everybody knows now that it's Jokic, but
Yeah. I mean, props to
all right.
Arvydas, but I think Jokic has been the best so far.
So let's move on to a slightly different subject.
Maybe we still need to go over LeBron as well for the third.
Oh, right. You want to talk about LeBron?
Yeah. I haven't. I've seen a lot of Laker games, but I've also seen that. I mean, LeBron's doing his thing. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's just sometimes it just seems a little like lazy at times.
Well, okay, so here's a few things that I will say right now is that LeBron, he's coasting in the regular season. He just literally was in the finals like what, 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll give him that too.
He had the shortest off season of like almost every other NBA team, every other
Because
NBA
I
player.
initially thought he was gonna take a break or something for like a month or two.
Yeah, and then he still, he's LeBron. He's doing LeBron things. He always does LeBron things. He hasn't shown me any reason to doubt him not doing LeBron things quite yet. So that's kind of the reason I also didn't want to talk about him, is you know what you're getting out of LeBron.
Yeah,
He's like a 20, 29, 9 and 9 type of guy. That's basically what he's doing this season. I don't know his exact stats, but it's probably something close in that range.
yeah. Mine's like a couple like points if I remember correctly.
And I have LeBron him there for now, but I expect that some other narrative will probably pop up. Steph Curry will finally figure it out, start being very consistent, 30 points every night, and then Steph Curry will win. Or Jokic starts winning a lot of games, 20-game win streak. He's the first seed. He's MVP. Luka bounces back, starts shooting a lot better from three. His team, like third seed or something, he wins MVP. There's a lot of definitely chances where LeBron could not be MVP at the
Oh,
end of the
here's a
season.
question: is there any dark horses currently that you're thinking of that no one's talking about?
Um, I mean, there's one player, but he's not MVP. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's not MVP, but there's one player that's playing like an MVP in the first like 10 games, and we'll get to him, and he's someone that no one expected to be playing like an MVP.
Okay.
And we'll get to him later. Again, he's not an MVP. I'm not putting him in the MVP race. I don't care how much you pay me. I am not putting him in the MVP race, but he is putting up, like MVP stats
I think I know who
for
you're
the first
talking
2 games.
about though.
Okay, let's not get into that right now. We'll get into that in just a little bit.
Okay.
The next topic I do want to get into is how crazy the COVID protocols have gone.
I haven't really paid much attention to that.
There have been like 5 games canceled in the past week because there's not enough players for teams to play NBA games because of COVID protocols.
Oh, okay. I only saw the news
Yeah.
about that with like the Rockets and then I think the Thunder too.
So like Maxi Kleber has COVID, Seth Curry has COVID. There's been a few players that have had COVID throughout already in the season. Like the Celtics have had to cancel a game or two so far. Same with the Mavericks. The Mavericks have had to cancel a game or two. And then like there's so many players that are out constantly. Kyrie Irving, I didn't even write him down on this list. I wrote a little list here of things I want to talk about, but Kyrie Irving is completely off grid right now. Nobody knows where he is. He's taken personal reasons off. Nobody can contact him, not Steve Nash or anybody. So that's also an interesting development.
I mean, I hope everything's all in well with them though.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else to add,
I got nothing.
I guess we can talk about that other player that I was mentioning earlier. putting up prime Kevin Garnett numbers on the New York Knicks, there is a player by the name of Julius Randle who is averaging 27, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists on insane efficiency.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about him, and I granted I haven't watched the games, but I've looked at the box score, and it's like, wow, he's finally emerging.
He's winning games for them too. It's not like just like empty stats. He's actually like winning games for the Knicks. For the Knicks, by the way, we're talking about the Knicks. He's winning games for the Knicks. Whose starting point guard is Elfrid Payton.
I mean, props to him for that though. But here's the real question:
No
if they
disrespect,
keep
Knicks
if they
fans.
keep winning games, do you think he could be an all star?
Yes, I think they continue winning games, he's 27, 12, and 7. Um, Not only is he an all star, then by like all star break, he's in the conversation for legitimately MVP, which is something I would have never ever. You could not have bet my fucking life savings on this ever being something I would ever say or think in my entire life. Obviously, it's 10 games, so there's no way that's ever going to happen, right? Like,
Yeah,
Julius Randle's not an MVP player. So, um, like, if he averages like 12, or sorry, not 12, 27 and like 4.5 or 5 a game on good efficiency, and the Knicks are winning, he's probably going to make the All Star game, especially with Pascal Siakam being awful this season. I don't know what Pascal Siakam is up to, but he has not looked very good.
just the Raptors in general just haven't looked good.
So, I mean, we talked about this last episode. I said that the Raptors lost a lot of key pieces and their core is older. So, to be honest, I'm not very surprised that the Raptors are not doing so hot.
Yeah, I was expecting them to at least be like a sixth or seventh seed, but like I never realized how much some of those key players impacted them.
Yeah, like Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka has been there a while, and he's been a real key part to what they've been doing over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and then trying to replace them with Aaron Baines, and then I think
Aaron
re-signing
Baines,
Chris Boucher.
Aaron Baines has been bad this season. I'm like, shout out to Aaron Baines fan club on Twitter, but he's not. I don't think I've seen him score a single bucket this season.
I haven't either. To be fair, I haven't seen any Raptors games, but they do play Portland tonight though.
Right. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to catch that game. I got some other shit going on, but
Like I might be
yeah.
able to catch up. I might be able to watch it for a little bit. 'Cause I also wanted to watch the national championship too.
All right, so I guess we can go on to the next topic, unless you want to talk about Kevin Garnett reincarnated in Julius Randle a bit more.
Um, yeah, because I'm actually intrigued. Let's kind of go in about it a little more.
All right, so what do you think about Julius Randle? What do you think that he can actually achieve this season? Because obviously we've talked about a bit about his stats so far, but it's only been 10 games. What do you think's going on there?
Um, I could possibly see potential All Star, and then this may be a hot take, but I think a dark horse for most improved.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that there's definitely been players that have won Most Improved that have been more shocking, I would say, than Julius Randle. So I'm not exactly surprised.
Yeah, and then this might be a hot take too, but I could also see him if he keeps it up being on an All NBA team.
Now
Assu-
that's a really hot take
Assuming they actually make the playoffs.
because you have to remember there's a lot of forwards, in front of him that he would have to knock out one of them. A lot of maybe even MVP candidate players or All Star certified All Star players. People who have been All Stars for many years. He'd have to knock off one of them to make that list.
But here's another real question: if he ends up performing well and assuming he gets all these awards, do you think it's a 1 year wonder?
I have no idea. So here's the thing. Tom Thibodeau's there. Tom Thibodeau, if I think everybody remembers him in Minnesota as being a player that, or as a coach that none of the players really wanted around. No, none of the players really respected. He ran his team into the fucking ground to win like what 40 games every season. His reputation has not been very good, but props to him for winning these Knicks some games, and we'll get on to a little bit more about the Knicks a little bit later on, and about some of their other players and stuff. But maybe Tom Thibodeau really put inspired some passion into Julius Randle for him to take another step.
Yeah, I could see that too. And I think I also want to see how RJ Barrett does too. Granted, from what I've seen,
No,
he's just
no,
been
no, no, no.
inconsistent.
Let's not go into topics that I have on the list that we're gonna talk about a little bit later. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I didn't even know that. My bad.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was trying to steer it away from the Knicks organization as a whole. But so anything else? Any final remarks about Julius Kevin
Nah.
Garnett Randall? All right, we can go on to the next topic, which we have touched on a little bit before, and that's the Warriors team is actually looking a lot more improved since we last talked.
Granted, they've got Draymond back too, so he's able to facilitate
I
as
mean,
well
even
as
with
be a
Draymond
defensive
off,
leader.
off, like Steph Curry did drop 62 points against our Blazers. Which, if you want to hear our thoughts, is it's Steph Curry's all-time greats have all-time great performances from time to time. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not. It's one regular season game. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
but yeah, no, I think Draymond could be like also be like one of those key factors. Like it may not show it on the stat sheet,
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
he's one of their serious key role players.
Absolutely. And Kelly Oubre has stopped shooting 5% from three-pointers, which actually has also helped. And their bench also looks a little bit better as well. Jordan Poole and who's their other bench guard
I think
besides Brad Wanamaker? There's Jordan
Damian
Poole and there's
Lee,
one other, Damian Lee. Both of them are actually really good ball handlers, I would even say. And they're really utilizing that. They really have good ball handles. They really can utilize the first step. They have some quickness to their game. They're decent shooters from deep. Brad Wanamaker has been fantastic also for the Warriors. So shouts out to him for playing his role perfectly off the bench. I'm surprised that their backup center, whose name I'm also spacing, isn't getting more minutes.
which one?
He was on like the championship runs. He was starting
Oh,
when
Kevon Looney.
Javon Looney. Yeah, he's not getting very many minutes.
Granted, they have James Wiseman too, but
Well,
I thought
yeah,
they
but
would have
like
been
when
playing him
Wiseman was
more.
out,
I thought they would have been playing him more considering Marquise Chris is out, and then would you say something along the lines of Pascal or something, or
Pascal's also been playing really, really well.
is he starting or is he coming off the bench right now?
He's coming off the bench. Draymond's starting, and Wiggins is starting, and Oubre is starting.
Okay, but yeah,
So just like in times when you think like Kevon Looney, he started during championship runs at times, would be getting a little bit more minutes, but I don't know what's going on there.
not gonna lie, I kind of got when they played the Blazers, I got massive vibes from like their 15-16 team. Granted, I don't think they're gonna go over 70 games this year,
No, I think it's already a little bit too late for that, to be
but
honest. But
I also got massive vibes to that because the way they moved the ball and then a lot of their players shooting lights out from three.
yeah, I mean that's also. I think this is just teams kind of like finding their groove, because it was a very long off season for a lot of teams. They didn't play since like March or
Yeah,
April of last season when there was cancel it, right? So a lot of players, a lot of teams who didn't practice for long periods of time, or who just went on the new teams. Why not just kind of figuring out their groove? They're hitting their shots more. They're finding their place in the offense. So
Yeah, but
so
I still think they could make. I still think they could be like y- y- like a 6 or 7 seed.
I think they'll make the playoffs 100%, especially with Steph Curry still there, unless Steph Curry gets injured. But that's a different topic.
Yeah,
So the next topic that I have written down here, we kind of went over it a little bit, and it's about like the Nuggets and the Bucks are struggling this season. So we did kind of talk about the Nuggets a little bit. So let's move on to the Bucks and talk about them. Really, the Bucks have not looked stellar, to say the least.
yeah. I'm wondering like what's going on with them.
Um, I think it's just that they really haven't had time to gel. Really, I mean, this team is really new. Brook Lopez is getting older. Giannis has not looked like his MVP self this season, also as well. To be honest, I don't know what that's about, but I'm sure he'll find his groove. You know, MVP players don't fall off overnight, and that's never happened. I doubt that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I still think. Yeah, I think they could still figure things out. And
Brent Forbes has still been good for them.
yeah, I still remember you saying that that was like a really great pickup from them.
Yeah, especially for like a bench piece. That was good. He was really good with the Spurs, like 2018 or 2019.
I also want to see. I haven't really seen much of the Bucks, so because I also want to know like how DiVincenzo's doing.
Um, he's doing his normal thing. He has a bit of playmaking, really good defense, can shoot the ball, pretty decently. A little bit of ball handling ability from time to time, but that's basically it.
Okay, yeah, because I really like him on that team.
So I think that the Bucks. I'm not going to overreact to the Bucks right now. I think that they have a lot of talented players on their roster. I want to give them at least like 10 more games to see how they do in the next like 10 or so games. If they're still really struggling by then, that's kind of when you hit the panic button. Start to wonder,
Oh
well,
yeah, go ahead.
maybe they should make some kind of change or something in the rotation or what.
Yeah, and then there was a team I wanted to talk about too. I was talking with some of my friends about. I don't know if you were
Hit me
wanting to
with
talk about them, but I was gonna say the Phoenix Suns.
the Phoenix Suns. So actually, I did have them on my list, which was like two talking points down. So I guess we can talk about them now and then go on and talk about some of the other things.
Yeah.
So the Phoenix Suns actually have looked really solid. Chris Paul is still really good at basketball. Michael Bridges has taken another step. Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder are playing their role perfectly. Starting at like that four, that small ball four kind of lineup next to DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton has looked like he hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked bad. So he's playing his role, I guess. I wish he would take another step, be like a star player. But whenever you have like you know Devin Booker and Chris Paul, it's hard to shine through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean,
So
he's
what are
had
your
had some
thoughts?
flashes though for like a couple games.
So what are your thoughts on the Suns as a whole?
I honestly don't know how to feel. Like, yeah, they're 7-3, if I remember correctly, and then, but the problem is, two of the teams they've lost to are are not really good. And I don't want to like overreact, but like, I just I'm just thinking like, because those two games, I'm pretty sure they got blown out.
Well, think about it this way. The 2015-2016 Warriors lost to the 2016 Bucks, and the 1996 Chicago Bulls lost to the expansion Raptors. So, um, there's always been really good teams that lose to bad teams. It happens. It happens.
Yeah, like I
I'm
don't
not
want to
gonna
like
really.
overreact, but it's like sometimes I don't know. It just kind of like have like a bitter taste. Just granted, they've also lost to the Kings and the Clippers.
I think it's a better show of force whenever they beat really good teams than when they lose to bad teams. I think any team can have an off night and any team can have a really like all their shots are hitting kind of night. But if they're consistently beating really good teams, but they've beaten some really good teams so far in the season, with a few like losses here and there to some not so good teams. That shows really good promise to me about what they are made
Yeah,
of as.
like I'm not gonna write them off, but like I don't know. I'm probably gonna pay attention to them a little more just to see how they're doing.
All right. Anything else you want to say about the Suns? Any players stand out to you?
Um, I was gonna say Mikal Bridges,
Yeah, Michael Bridges, 1000%.
cause yeah, he he's definitely doing well in his role, being like a 3 and D type player.
Hmm. Anything else?
No,
I'm not like I'm not like probing you for like anything specific. I'm just like checking to make sure.
yeah, no, I have nothing else.
All right, so I guess we can move on to the next subject, and this next one's a little bit sad. It's unfortunately that Markel Holt has torn his ACL and will be out for the season.
Yeah, I remember seeing when it happened. It was I'm I'm pulling for Markel Fultz, but
And you know that he was my top runner for MIP this season.
yeah,
So I've always been a fan of Markel Fultz, even whenever he was going through his struggles and everyone was calling on him and calling him a bust. I was always rooting for him. So just whenever he starts to get his groove, it really sucks that he tears his
I mean, I'm just
ACL.
happy that he got paid. Like, granted, people say it was an overpay, but at the same time, at least he got paid before he so like a big injury like that.
So now this is the second player um, on the Magic's roster that have an ACL tear. Um, one at the point guard, one at the small forward slash power forward, and both those players are out for the season. This is actually kind of a good transition to the next talking point, which I have right under it, which is the increase in injuries this season. There's a massive increase in not only just like minor injuries, but serious injuries this season.
I think I
There
told you
have
this
been like
before, but it reminds
four
me of.
players.
Go ahead.
I've said there are like four players who have torn their ACL this season. There's an insane amount of like big injuries.
Yeah, honestly, it's not basketball related, but it reminds me of this year's NFL season because it was
What about
like
it?
because there was training camp, but there was no preseason games. And normally there's like 3 or 4 of them before the season starts, but they had no preseason, and they started off at their regular time. But by week 2 or 3, a lot of players ended up getting season-ending injuries.
Yeah, man, it really sucks to see a lot of a lot of players get injured. You never really want to see players get injured. It just kind of like ruins like the quality of basketball being played.
Yeah, because I think what's most recent one I saw was like Thomas Bryant tore his
Yeah, Thomas
ACL.
Bryant tore his ACL on his knee, I think, all the way up to his knee. Like he had an MRI on his knee, and they found a torn ACL,
Damn,
something like that.
that's tough.
I don't know the exact. First of all, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the anatomy, and maybe that's like completely incorrect. And I don't remember the tweet off the top of my head, so don't quote me on that. That's just what I remember. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it, but I do know that yeah, my my brother has torn partially of his ACL and MCL.
And that shit hurts.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm pulling for all of them. Hopefully they come back next year and bounce back.
I guess the one positive of this entire situation is that Cole Anthony has started and he's not playing too bad.
Yeah, I like Cole Anthony. Though I've said it before, but kind of a little salty that he didn't choose Oregon. Granted, he wouldn't
Yeah,
have done much because of Peyton Pritchard starting there.
yeah. Actually, this is a good point, and something I didn't even write down, but I do remember and did want to talk about. And you actually segued this perfectly. Is that Peyton Pritchard has been playing really well for the Boston Celtics?
Yeah, because honestly, I was shocked when he got drafted in the first round. Because granted, I'm being biased to Peyton Pritchard, but I thought he would have been a first round pick, but I didn't think he would.
Yeah, and he has been playing really well for the Celtics. Like the one game, whenever like Carson Edwards was starting, he got started like minutes off the bench, and he put up like what was it, 22 points and 8 assists off the bench. Really good numbers, really good play from him. He's
Yeah,
really good,
yeah.
and
It honestly,
best of.
it
Sorry,
honestly,
go ahead.
it honestly has me thinking a little bit about like how come some of these like 4 year players from in college don't really get much recognition when some of them pretty much translate to or have immediate impact.
Like Kyle Kuzma,
Yeah, that or like second year or third year players, like
like Dame or Steph.
yeah, like Dame, Steph, and then Jaw and Donovan. Granted, they were both sophomores.
All right, and actually, there's we should probably switch to what's on your sweater there and talk about a specific player on the Portland Trailblazers, our team over here at the Sean Andreas podcast, and that is Yusuf Nurkic, and he's not exactly playing too hot for us to start the season.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Nurkic. Like I like him, but it just kind of has me wondering, like, how is Ennis Canner coming off the bench and being more efficient or effective?
It's been like what 9, 10 games. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
overreact to him playing like he is right now. I'm gonna give him a bit of more time. 15, 20 more games. If he's not performing, then that's kind of when you start to take a step back and think maybe there's something else deeper at the issue here. But Yusuf Nurkic, last time I checked, and this is most definitely changed by now, but last time I checked, he was shooting 43% from the free throw line. That is like Shaq levels of bad. That
yeah,
is like Lonzo Ball levels of bad from the free throw line. This is inexcusable for an NBA player to shoot this bad, especially one who's we've been considering for the last 2 years our second best player on our roster to not only be playing really bad on offense, but even worse on defense, and then also not even being able to shoot free throws at all. Like I don't know what's going on, but so there definitely needs to be something uh, to be fixed here. And we love Nurkic. Um, we just don't know what's going on.
yeah. But also another cool thing about Cantor, I think, if I remember correctly, he's third or fourth in the league in total rebounds, but
Off the bench.
yeah, off the bench. But like he's in the top three and top five, and the other four players are starting.
Um, Gary Trent Jr. had a pretty good game. He had like 28, I think, one night against the Lakers, was it?
Yeah, he had like 26 or 28 while shooting like I think
11 for
six.
15 or something like that.
Yeah, then like 6 or 7 of 13 from three.
And so there's also Ant, who's been taking a step forward this season. Like I thought he probably would, but it's still not enough. He's still not exactly what we needed off the bench, in my opinion. But he is taking a step, and I recognize that he's even better than maybe even I thought he would be. But you know,
Yeah, I like Ant and everything, but not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna keep their draft pick and pick a point guard in this year's draft.
so did I, to be honest. Um, but I'm happy that we got Roko. Roko has been playing good defense for us.
Yeah,
Very needed defense, mind you.
but it's still
But
looking abysmal from the perimeter.
um, that's an issue. I'm not going to get into Terry Stotts right now on this podcast. Even I want to give it a lot more thought. I want to see how the next couple weeks go down before I start talking about Terry Stotts and his coaching ability. Um, but that's something to keep in the back of your minds going forward from this. And the next topic I actually want to go into is the Clippers and the Clippers selling again.
Pretends to be shocked.
I mean, like you would think with Kawhi Leonard, the man the robot from San Antonio who helped win that 2014 championship, goes to Toronto, hits one of the best shots of all time, series, game 7, buzzer beater, over defender, three bounces, wins the championship, dismantles, like the super team, the dynasty, goes over to the Clippers and then starts choking and selling, and it's just
Like, you
kind of
think it's the
shocking to be
Clippers'
honest.
bad luck?
Yes, the Clippers are cursed. Absolutely, the Clippers have a curse. It's even Kawhi Leonard can't break it. Even LeBron James probably couldn't break it. To be honest, I mean,
Yeah.
if Kawhi Leonard can't break it,
CP3
um,
couldn't.
or what was that?
Chris Paul couldn't.
Yeah, and Chris Paul was traded there like in his prime, and Blake Griffin was there. Blake Griffin was really good that one year too.
Yeah, I'm just convinced that they're just cursed.
Paul George either looks like an MVP or he should be, or he's struggling to keep his minutes in the rotation, and
Yeah.
it's nothing in between. What is going on with Paul George? Seriously.
Wait, didn't they also like blow a lead to the Warriors?
Yeah. That's kind of why I wrote that. They choked to the Warriors. They had like a 23-point lead, and Steph Curry had 37 points to beat them.
Damn.
He scored most of those to catch up and to win the game. So
It really be like that.
but they're still winning games. I guess their record isn't bad. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Hope. Do you think they could break out and go to the conference finals?
At With the way that they're playing, I don't think that they can do that. No,
Where do
I
you see
think
them
that if
going
this,
at best?
uh, um, at best, I see them going to the conference finals at their peak. Like if they play the best basketball they possibly can, they make it to the conference finals. What's likely going to happen is they make the second round like they did last year, and then probably lose again.
Yeah, I
But
could.
I'm not playing on peaks. I'm playing on what I'm expecting them to do, and I'm expecting them to not make the conference finals. I wouldn't put money on it for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see.
The next player I actually want to talk about is over in Indiana. There's two players that I want to talk about. One of them is Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon has been really good this season. Um, he's been looking like an all-star for them, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't really seen much Pacers games, so I can't really like say anything about them.
He's looked really solid. Like he's creating the offense for their teams whenever they don't really have anything going. He's passing super well. He's rebounding the ball. He's playing really good defense. He's fitting really well right next to Victor Oladipo whenever he's playing. Um, and he's playing around their double-headed monster in the paint at the 4 and the 5 pretty well. So that's what I like to see from Malcolm Brogdon. And the other player that I want to talk about, there's actually three players, I guess, total. The second player is also Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, I've looked. Last I checked at his stat line, I think he was like 26, 12, and 5.
Oh yeah, he's been playing really, really well this year. He is an all-star this year if he keeps up anything remotely close to this.
Yeah, like last year, I was kind of questioning him being an all star, but seeing it now is like, okay, yeah, he's definitely you deserve that
Definitely
all
an
star
all-star.
spot.
He's definitely an all-star. So we could have an all-star, lineup of Julius Randle and Domantas Sabonis this year.
Yeah, I could see that. It'd be
You
crazy
know,
though.
imagine saying that to somebody in 2019 or 2018. The East starting all-star lineup is Domantas Sabonis and Julius Randle.
They would have thought that we're delusional.
Imagine saying that to somebody from 2017 when Russell Westbrook was on his MVP season. Domantas Sabonis is like spotting up in the corner trying to catch and shoot jumpers from Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, yeah, no one would have believed you.
And I guess the third player is that Miles Turner's defense is still there. It's probably even better than it was last year. He's playing really good defense. He's still stretching the floor, playing his role immaculately.
You think he could be defensive player of the year candidate?
I'm not sure if he's defensive player of the year. No player has really like stood out to me as like DPOY so far this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I haven't like really looked at any player and thought like, man, that player is just locking people up. Like, in 2018 you had big man Rudy Gobert over in Utah. Obviously, there was Giannis. AD was in the race last year. You also like thought maybe he could have been it, but not this year. Like, I don't really know who could be DPOY so far.
so like,
I'll have to give it more time.
cause I was gonna say, there's another player I'm thinking of that could possibly be a dark horse as well.
Who do you think that is?
Joel Embiid.
I could see that. Um, Again, there'd have to be more games played from him. Um, the 76ers are really good, so we'll just have to let things play out. Maybe by next week, next episode, we'll have a better idea.
Yeah. All right. Which team do you want to talk about next?
The Pelicans, actually. The Pelicans suck. They're not good.
Yeah. I they looked good at first, but then it's
Yeah,
just
at the
like
start.
they just struggled.
Yeah, they're on like a 6-game losing streak or something like that. Zion's kind of doing his thing. Brandon Ingram doing his thing. Lonzo's really bad this season. I'm gonna be honest. I've been a very big Lonzo Ball fan since he came in the league. I love Lonzo Ball. Obviously, like I acknowledge his shortcomings coming in the league, and I thought he could probably fix that. And he has fixed that, but he's been really bad. He's been really bad at everything else. His shooting's okay. Everything else has been really bad. I'm gonna be honest.
Also, how's that Eric Bledsoe pickup been going?
Eric Bledsoe's he's either okay or really bad. Like he's either like playing his role pretty well, doing his thing, doing what Eric Bledsoe normally does, or he shoots like 4 from 11, 1 from 6 from three, and like cost them the game. So it's somewhere in between. It's either one or the other sometimes. Depends on the game.
Yeah. So were you kind of like a little surprised when I said that I don't think the Pelicans can make the playoffs, or
Um, Not really, to be honest. I wasn't shocked.
but you were
There's actually
surprised?
something there is something else that I do want to talk about though, and that's that Jackson Hayes isn't really getting minutes this year.
Yeah. Why is that?
Um, oh, this also reminds me, Steven Adams had a triple double like a couple nights ago, I think.
Okay. Did not know that.
You know, that's an interesting stat line from a player like Steven Adams to have a triple double.
Yeah.
You'd never think Steven Adams out there diming people up with like 10 or 11 assists, but here
I
we
mean, he's
are.
an like Loki. He's an underrated passer though.
Zion's doing his thing, but Nikhil Alexander Walker missed a game winner not too long ago, a couple games ago. So that's a thing that also happened. They're one of the worst shooting teams in the league. That's also something.
Okay. Cause yeah, I was gonna say with the players they have, I don't think like I was wondering how the spacing is.
It's apparently really bad because they're not good at shooting threes. I think they're like bottom five in 3-point makes out of all teams. They also have Stan Van Gundy there, so take that if you want as a correlation, uh, perhaps even a causation. But
Yeah, but
so the next team that I also want to talk about, we're staying negative. We woke up and chose violence. We're uh, talking about the Timberwolves up in Minnesota,
oh yeah, I have
and
no
they've
idea
also been
what's
really
going
bad.
on with them. Like how
Well,
much at
to be fair to them, Cat has been out for the last like what 4 or 5 games maybe. So their star player's been out, but D'Angelo Russell, I don't know what he's been doing this year, but he has not exactly looked like an all-star or anything.
yeah, I like D'Lo too, but I have no idea what's going on.
Anthony Edwards looks really good. That's positive.
Yeah, you, though I wish he would be starting instead of being off the bench.
The problem is that Malik Beasley also looks really good. And
Yeah,
Malik Beasley is a better defender.
yeah, that's fair.
Um, I mean, this team is just like I don't know exactly where it's coming from, where it's going. Anthony Edwards messed up like a play late in a game, like two games ago or something. Whenever they were down by 3, he tried to pass it out to the 3-point line on a fast break and turn the ball over. So that's something that also happened. Maybe they just need more time to gel. They need to put it together. They need to we'll figure out what the Wolves are actually made of in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, but honestly, the only thing that comes to mind with the Timberwolves is just like how many. Because I feel like they're probably just gonna tank again and get another top prospect, but at the same time, it's like how much more help do they need?
I don't know. I guess they really need like that superstar. I mean, like you'd think Cat would hopefully be that. And I really love Cat. Anybody who knows me knows that I am the biggest simp for Cat of all time. But I don't know. Maybe he's just not like the number one guy on the offense. Maybe he needs to be like a 1A 1B type situation,
Yeah,
or uh, like maybe he's like a Scottie Pippen to someone's MJ.
I mean, maybe Jimmy Butler was right about them.
Well, I think he was more so talking about Andrew Wiggins, and I think we know
Yeah,
how that turned out.
yeah, pretty much.
Um, I guess we can move on to the next topic, which we've touched on a little bit earlier, and that's RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett has looked really good this season. He's looked like a stud.
Yeah, the problem is that he's just been inconsistent.
I mean, it's his sophomore year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All sophomore year players are pretty inconsistent. Um, so
I mean not all, but like some.
like he's shown a lot of flashes of like I'm more concerned about I'd be more concerned if he had like one uh big performance every like 10 games and the rest was like mediocre or bad, but he's having like a mediocre game sprinkled in between like 2 or 3 like good average to above average games, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that shows me a steady improvement, and that's probably going to be his baseline. He's just figuring it out, getting his groove going. Um, I think he's probably going to be averaging around maybe like 18 to 20 points a game this season, which is really really good for him.
yeah. I mean I like RJ Barrett, but I just hope he could just pull through.
So what do you think about the Knicks and RJ Barrett and his fit and everything and his play this year?
I'm actually surprised of how they've been playing, because like yeah, everyone jokes on the Knicks every year, and it's just like, oh, the Knicks aren't gonna make the playoffs. Oh, the Knicks are a joke. But it's like this is like the one year where it's like, I mean, I'll give them their props that that they're not doing too bad.
All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about RJ Barrett of the Knicks.
Nothing else I can think of.
In the spirit of positivity from all the negativity we've been talking about recently, let's talk about a positive of our team, which is actually CJ has been playing really well this season. He's been averaging more points than even Damian Lillard.
Yeah, you think if he keeps it up, you think he could be an all star too?
He won't make it in the West. There's no way. I'm sorry, but there's too many guards in the West. Like James Harden looks like he's going to be staying. So like I mean, there was no chance even if James Harden wasn't staying in the West. But with James Harden staying in the West, that just kind of 1,000% solidifies, bars him from any potential chance of ever making it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you think about CJ this year?
I mean, I love CJ so far because I know he was talking about wanting to attempt more threes in the game and more made, and like he's been excelling at it. Though,
Also, his ball handling looks good.
yeah, though I will admit there are times where he can be like abysmal from the 3 point line, but they've only been like on rare occasions.
He's still not the best defender in the world, which is a bit of an understatement, but we're gonna leave it at that. And there is times where he can be a bit of a shot checker.
Yeah, like him, I think like him and Melo gonna have like that little problem.
Um, I'm not gonna rag on Melo this podcast, but if he keeps up this, we're definitely gonna have a discussion about Melo next podcast. So also keep that in the back of mind.
Yeah, but like, don't get me wrong, I love Melo and CJ and everything, but yeah, you are kind of right in the sense that the times they just chuck up shots.
All right, and then again, in the spirit of positivity, let's move it over to another team in the West, a team that we've had our fair share of rivalry with, and that is the Houston Rockets. And their additions of like Christian Wood and John Wall have been pretty good so far. John Wall out there looking like he hasn't lost a beat, never missed a game to begin with, and Christian Wood looking like the reincarnation of Hakeem Olajuwon out there at times. So.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I think the contract that he got was a steal for the Rockets.
So I was telling you this like off podcast, but whenever they first got signed, whenever they first signed him, I was like joking how he was like a 15 game player who just got like this big contract.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But he's actually been playing super well, so happy for him for that.
Yeah, but yeah, Rockets look nice, especially though I kind of wish that DeMarcus Cousins would be starting. Granted, they have Christian Wood playing center right now.
Okay, so let us also talk about DeMarcus Cousins since he's gotten ejected twice in the last 2 games.
Yeah,
Gotten ejected twice, 2 games back to back, just ejected, thrown out. Couldn't even stay in 2 techs, immediately thrown out.
hmm,
One was in the first 4 minutes of the game, by the way.
well, damn.
So he's back on his bullshit, back on his Kings bullshit. Back if you remember back in the day
Yeah,
when he was with the Kings, this shit used to happen, relatively frequently. So he's back on his bullshit.
yeah, but at the same time, I kind of just want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's coming off a torn ACL and then just trying to find his role on a team, just on a 1 year deal.
All right, and so we actually don't have a lot left, so we're gonna probably try to speed through these last because we have been going for about an hour or so far.
It's like 54
So
minutes.
yeah, let's just try to speed through these last and not get held up on them too much. So the last few subjects I want to talk about. The first one is going to be Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards. Bradley Beal dropped like 60 points the other night in a loss. The Wizards have been abysmal. Russell Westbrook has not been very good. He's out with injury. What are your thoughts?
Like I have no words for the Wizards. I thought they had potential. but just seeing it now, like they're not even using Evdisha right.
Yeah, that also is a very good point. So, in a game where both Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal was out, they used Avdija correctly. He dropped 25 and 5. He had a really good game. He shot well from the field. He was super efficient. He played his game. It was really fun to actually see him play his game in the NBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I didn't really see much of the highlights from from when he was playing in Israel, so I didn't really know much about him. And but seeing how he's flourished when he's played without Wall and Beal, it shows how much potential he has.
So I don't think this is a controversial take, but Scott Brooks is not a very good coach. I think he needed to be gone 3 years ago. But moving on to the next subject, we're going to be talking about Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown over in Boston, who without Kemba Walker there have been a really good duo, a really good tandem playing and winning games for the Celtics.
Like you think they might trade Kemba?
I don't think they're going to be trading Kemba. I think that if there's any player they would trade, it would be Jalen Brown. I doubt that they would trade Jason Tatum at this point, considering everything. But
Yeah,
Jason Tatum has been playing pretty decently this season. Sometimes he's even taken a backseat to Jalen Brown, though. Jalen Brown dropped like 40 on insane efficiency, like 13 out of 16 shooting
yeah, I remember
one game.
that. And just
Yeah,
thinking like, cause yeah, Tatum at that with that game too. Tatum only had like 16, 18 points.
yeah. He, as I said, he really took a step back and just let Jalen Brown do his thing, which is really a good hallmark of a leader on a team. Is whenever they can take a step back and let other players on the team do what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, respect to Tatum
So
for
any
that though.
So any final thoughts about the duo over in Boston?
Mm, not really.
All right, so the next is going to be over in Charlotte, and that is going to be Lamelo Ball versus Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham has not been very good this season. He's been starting over Lamelo Ball. Lamelo Ball just got a triple double. He's scored like 20 points in the last like 2 or 3 games. Uh, really good numbers all around. He's been playing a lot better than Devontae. Yet they refuse to start Lamelo. Refuse.
I think it's mostly just because they want him to get in the starting minutes because he's been there longer.
I respect why they might be doing that, but at this point, like you have to give Lamelo the starting. You got to give him the starting position. Devontae is not playing well. Give him some time to regain his confidence on the bench. If you want to start him over like Terry Rozier or something, or if he comes back, scores like 25 points, you want to start him again, see how he does in the starting role, you can. But like let Lamelo shine. Don't hold your players back um, on the basis of like tenure or something.
Oh yeah,
Like you wouldn't bench rookie Shaq just because like you have an old player that's been there for a couple of years. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, you definitely put that player in and let them shine, let them do their work, and they're probably gonna at least win you some games. You know what I mean?
yeah. Also, how about Gordon Hayward though?
Gordon Hayward's been pretty nice. I mean, he's been playing his role as well as he as possibly can. Really.
Because I was shocked when I saw that one of the games he dropped 43.
I mean, it's like him out there with like Terry Rozier and like a Devonte Graham that's shooting like 2 for 14 from the field or something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
um, Bismack Biyombo has been starting, and he's been pretty decent at the starting position, at the center position. So shout outs to him.
I mean, I
And
got nothing else.
nothing else. All right, I guess we can move on to the final subject, and that is actually about the Grizzlies. Without John Morant or Jaren Jackson Jr., the Grizzlies are good. They're getting really competitive games against some really good teams like the fucking the Lakers and shit. They're forcing uh some clutch minutes from LeBron and AD down the stretch, and Dylan Brooks has looked really good. They have looked really good as a squad together, even without their two best players. So that's a really good sign.
Yeah, I just remember the Dylan Brooks slander in the bubble though.
Dylan Brooks has actually scored like 20 the last like 4 games or something like that. He's been playing pretty decently. I haven't actually watched the games. Sorry if he's actually been playing bad, but from a statistical standpoint, he's actually been playing pretty decent. Doing what he needs to be done.
Yeah. Um, do you think? How do you think the Grizzlies could do at best this season?
I think they could potentially make the playoffs. Maybe they could upset one of these other teams who have like a bad start, or maybe there's like an injury or something that happens, and they come back, they come full strength for a little win streak. At the same time, one of these other teams is on like a losing streak or something. So you know, maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I think that will be it for this episode. If you enjoy, please sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button down below. Um, I'm sure all of our social media will be linked in this description, our Twitters and all that. So you can go leave us a follow on the Twitter. If you enjoyed this, hit us up on Twitter, leave some feedback down in the comments as well. And anything else you want to add?
Yeah, the feedback would be greatly appreciated because this is like our first time like doing stuff like this, and we'd appreciate to see what your guys' thoughts are on how we've doing so far.
Well, I mean, I used to do YouTube like a long, long time ago, but been out of the game for like the last 5 years. So,
Yeah, this is like my legit first time actually doing this and taking it serious though.
all right. Well, I think that's it for this Sean Andreas episode number 2. Remember, hit the subscribe button, as I've said like 5,000 times already. And yeah, I think that's going to be it from us. We'll see you guys later.
All right, later, y'all.